On.
Our channel.
Hello. Hi.
I'm
This is Tano Tributes, as you can probably guess because you've clicked on a video from Tano Tributes, and we are going to be starting a new thing.
What if it's a re-upload on like some sketchy Chinese
Well,
website?
we're not going to address that, are we?
All right.
And we've got
featuring
the two people that run Tano Tributes, Corbin Ellis and Oliver Smunnings, but you don't care about those people. You care about the only.
Obviously, you're only here with me.
Yeah, you care about TeamEXAngus. You care about TeamEXAngus.
I'm
and
here.
the rando mando.
So-
Don't forget about me.
I don't know
It's a
how.
pleasure to be here.
I don't know how to structure these things. I don't know if we should say, "Hey, go sub to his channel," or if that should be at the end. I feel like that's something that fits at the end, like where can everybody find you and stuff. So that should probably be at the end.
In the description or something.
Yeah, and we could probably say it at the end. Just to re-emphasize it. You know what? All right, so let's
the magic of editing.
Yes, the magic of editing. Okay, let's kind of All right. There's no really segue into what we're about to talk about, other than we're about to talk about the Star Wars.
The wars in the stars.
Yes, because that's what we feel like is necessary to talk about today.
Should we redo the intro?
No, we shouldn't redo it. No, the intro's fine. The intro's fine. Look, everybody's really happy with the intro. You can hear all the crowd screaming.
Yeah.
Look, so go.
I'm just saying, the magic of editing, you can make it seem like we're prepared.
Exactly. Or you just don't edit it and it's more raw and real and genuine. And some people appreciate that. And then some people go, "This is so bad, get to the point." Which is fair enough.
3 Star Wars nerds taking the oil on a Google Meet.
Yes. Exactly. Google Meets. All right. Google Meets just brings down the production value of this 10 times when you say it out loud. Okay. So
re-video it lets it come back in, you know.
Yeah, exactly. Re-video.
Makes up for Google Meets.
Yeah.
Yes. All right. Let's actually try and get into what we are going to talk about. So we kind of have a plan, but not really. Bad Batch. That series got announced. We all like the Clones Wars, so we would like to talk about what we would like to see from that series.
Yes.
Segue. Now let's talk about what we want from that series.
I would like to see.
All right.
I would like to see sort of like a spin-off episode from the Bad Batch, you know, into like how Rex and Gregor and Wolf met up. You know?
Yeah, well, that's kind of what the show's gonna be. Oh, there's rumors that Rex and stuff are gonna be in it, which is kind of a no-brainer, I think. But okay.
Let me just find. I had like
I know
that list of.
Yes, I know what you're talking about. Yes. Talk about all that. It makes us sound like really like smart and stuff.
This was instead of doing classwork, I just sent a bunch of ideas for the Bad Batch.
Yes, that was
Rex meeting up with Wolf and Gregor. That was.
It's like a given.
That was obvious. Clone troopers getting like basically having a grudge with stormtroopers.
Yeah.
Who've been recruited as it moves into the
and they're trash as well. Like,
we need that. We need that. The new guys on the block.
Ahsoka in Exile, what she just does.
Yes.
I think that deserves to be shown.
Yeah, and that's been rumored as well by the guys that leaked it.
Hera meet.
Yes. Well, I mean, we know how they meet.
That's done in A New Dawn, kind of.
Yeah.
Shut up. I want to watch it on my TV at 3 a.m.
Yeah, or either adapt A New Dawn and then continue and just show them like just like a bunch of arcs just placed every season about them. Like just do a Clone Wars, like literally Clone Wars sequel in structure.
It doesn't really fit with Bad Batch when you think about it, because all it is.
It can though.
Is Kanan escaping this mine planet.
Yeah.
And with Hera, and then
I suppose, but like you could make it like a thing of like the Bad Batch are the central characters, like Rex and Ahsoka are the central characters of Clone Wars ultimately, but you can just jump around a bit.
Kind of wishful thinking.
Maybe it is, but I feel like Kanan. Yeah, I think
like,
you could definitely see. I mean, obviously the Empire we're gonna see because it's literally the rise of the Empire. So there's potential to kind of tie a lot of things in, and people saying the Cad Bane Boba Fett stuff. You've got that on the list. Actually, just continue the list, and we'll get there eventually.
Yeah, because what I'm hoping is it's less a show about the Bad Batch, and more a show which focuses on the Bad Batch, if that makes sense.
Which,
it's not every episode.
It's an anthology series. It's an anthology series.
Right? Every episode, it is about the Mandalorian.
Yes.
We don't need that so much, I think.
Yeah.
If we could
There's more versatility.
You have the Bad Batch as a story, but you have other stories.
Yeah, you've got just give us like.
I feel like though a lot of these things won't be in the Bad Batch, but they'll make another series later on.
Potentially, but I think this is the opportunity.
It's everything between the end of Clone Wars and the start of A New Hope.
There's a lot of stories.
I think.
I've got here. Imperial fleet. Like you've got a fleet of ISDs attacking like a separatist.
Yes.
How cool.
Yes.
Would that be?
Yeah, that
just design wise, aesthetically.
Just the imagery of that just in my head, and there's and just seeing like those like separatist tactics against Imperial tactics, and just you've got like Kalani leading, like he's like found a bunch of other battle droids, and he's just like assembled a whole fleet or something, and
that would kind of be a bit late. That would be closer to the Galactic Civil War, though.
Yeah, that's true.
Was until...
Well, I don't know how many time jumps they're going to do, but when you just even from the few ideas we've already discussed, that's like a 10, 20 season show in itself. Like theoretically, this could go on.
That's
for that long. It
won't,
wouldn't, but theoretically,
to like 20 seasons of just Clone Wars-ish, like Clone Wars style material.
But for the era leading the Dark Times,
they could make even. Like a Forces of Destiny, how it sort of goes across all eras and stuff.
Yes, it jumps around.
They could make like a show like that.
I suppose. I mean, that's what the Lando series is rumored to be. They're talking about like Donald Glover and Billy D. Williams are going to be in that rumored Lando series, which is
the Clone Wars. I think what a lot of people liked because it explored the Senate, the politics, all that stuff,
and we need that for right after. And like, how does
I want a room full of. It doesn't even have to be senators. I want a room full of Imperial officers arguing about whether or not Tarkin Doctrine is a good idea.
And like infighting, and like the whole like 0 Hour and Rebels, Thrawn and Constantine, and he's like, and then Callus are fighting over glory, and I do not require glory, only results from my empire. That stuff, but just make that a series. That's why I want Star Wars Empire as its own thing. Vader, Bad Batch working for Vader or hunted down to destroy Vader. Cody,
I wouldn't even complain if we got a Thrawn cameo, just so Thrawn could be like, I think the Empire should.
He'll be in it.
I think the Tarkin Doctrine is a bad idea. Like that's all he says.
The only thing is,
that would be the best.
If this is immediately after Order 66, and actually, I want to say something about that. But if this is immediately after it, Thrawn wouldn't be with the Empire, so it'd just. I feel like they could eventually cover it depending on how far they go. Because when's the first Thrawn book set?
Like it's always in my mind.
So,
Thrawn would appreciate the Venator as a tool of war. It's definitely not a warship.
Yeah.
When compared to the destroyer.
Yeah, definitely.
Destroyer.
But
like, it's a good ship.
Yeah.
There's no question.
Yeah. And in Thrawn Alliances, I haven't read it yet. I'm not a true fan. No, but I'd like to read it. But like I've heard that it's what am I trying to say here? Well, obviously they go back and forth between the Clone Wars and the Imperial era, and like
That's what I'd like to see as well, like Thrawn and Anakin's actual like how they met in a series sort of thing.
Will you see
in an arc?
Yeah, I mean that's something like if you just do #complete the Clone Wars, that whole thing, just. I mean, I only want the 40 episodes, but theoretically, you could, again, just do that forever and do pre-Christoph's stuff. And then the Phantom Menace Attack of the Clones series I was telling you guys about, how cool it would be to see, like, Anakin actually training as a kid, Ahsoka training as a youngling, and, like, paralleling those stories. And then Rex in the clone barracks training, like, Domino Squad kind of stuff. Like that. Oh, my God.
That Anakin and Ahsoka, they're not that far apart age-wise. Like
it's like 3 years.
If we got
4 years, I think,
a story about Anakin training in the temple
with Ahsoka
as a youngling,
it's
not impossible that Ahsoka would be training at the same time as him.
I suppose, and that would be.
You just have to walk. You just have one of them in the background while the other's the main.
And it's like they don't cross.
Fandom loses its mind.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh wow, I didn't think about that. Like they're in the same. Wow, yeah, that could be spectacular. Yeah. Do you want to get back to your list? Because I know you got quite a bit of stuff on there.
Yeah, I do it. So, what happens like Hondo, Boba Fett, Cad Bane, all of those guys? They don't just disappear until like Boba Fett all of a sudden he's a bounty hunter now, and Hondo he's pirate in the Lothal sector now.
Yeah, exactly.
Something happens to Cad Bane. I don't even know what happens to him. Something happens to those guys.
He's a Mandalorian.
Between the end of the Clone Wars and whenever the next appear.
Yeah. I mean,
and I don't believe that they just sat down and waited. And
exactly. And it's the same thing with like Barriss and Quinlan Vos, who, because the guys that the Kessel Run Transmissions, great YouTube channel, they leaked the Bad Batch like a month before it actually was revealed officially. They were saying that they'd heard Quinlan Vos thrown around as a character. And so that, and Barriss, I think as well, is that was more speculation on their part. I think the Barriss one, but so that's in the same realm as like Cad Bane and Boba Fett. Like those are characters we didn't see in the new season of Clone Wars that we want to see resolution for. And I think Filoni's even said he's had a lot of plans for Barriss for a while. He's been quoted as saying that. Like,
I didn't actually put this on my list, surprisingly, but I'd like to see the Grand Inquisitor as he gets selected to be the Grand Inquisitor. Yeah.
Well, that's kind of detailed in the Vader comics, which I actually just read like this week. I'd heard about them, but just adapt those comics. There's some really cool things in those comics, and like Vader just like he cuts one of the Inquisitor's arms off or something, and he's like to try and teach him pain and a lesson. It's like the dark side, and just that would be incredible to see all that, and like make the Inquisitors actually like intimidating.
Yeah.
I mean, like in the second season, they just discount Grand Inquisitors. And
that's true.
I mean,
kind of based on their role, or just as they're in the movie, Stormtroopers, and as they're in the show, Stormtroopers have to be useless so the heroes can sing.
Yeah, exactly.
But like the thing I hate about that is Obi-Wan says like they have precise aim. And then
they don't. Well, I think only Imperial Stormtroopers are so precise, except when the plot needs them to not be precise, which is like 95% of the time.
Yeah.
Actually threatening Stormtroopers.
Unimportant Stormtroopers versus unimportant rebels, where the Stormtroopers just go to town.
And actually, we actually see the Imperials win and oppress, and like Vader just. I've got this image in my head of just like Vader and like the remaining members of the 501st and like whatever the new batches troopers on the 501st are, they just come down to this planet and they just conquer this planet or this sector or this village or whatever, and that he just stands on top of like a big mountain thingy, and there's like he just sticks an Imperial flag in the ground that it's just like, or a stormtrooper does. I don't,
bodies,
just like that. Yeah, exactly. Like that is just like that imagery in my head. I'd love to see that just moving on a screen. And another thing I want to say is about now we're actually getting back to Bad Batch, who are the main characters. Do you think they're going to adapt the Kashyyyk arc as the opening like 4 episodes of the show?
Maybe not the opening. But
it would have to be. I think if they were doing an opening, that'd be a great opener. You get a bit of Yoda, a bit of like Wookiee action, and then it just all hell breaks loose. You move it in the timeline.
I don't know. Do we even know about that arc?
Well, we know.
Were they on Kashyyyk when Order 66 came?
It was set, that arc was just going to be set as just during the show. But what I'm saying is move it forward in the timeline to where it just links up with Revenge of the Sith. So they like kill Luminara.
Have, like, on Kashyyyk, Order 66 comes through.
And you finish that Clone Wars arc as well. And you get Echo. And I'd love the opening shot, or the opening shot of like the 4th episode, maybe at the end of the 3rd episode, there's like the Order 66 cliffhanger. And the 4th episode just opens with like a POV shot of Echo just waking up. Wrecker's just like slaughtering like a bunch of droids and trying to get to Luminara, who's just like, because she's on there. Luminara's on that planet. And Echo's just pleading with the rest of the Bad Batch, what are you doing? What are you doing? Because I feel like they could be the ones to just snap. Why wouldn't Palpatine want them to have chips? And then Echo's the one that doesn't have the chip because the Separatists took it out.
They've had the chip since they were born, so he wouldn't have known that they were going to be. Even 99 would have had the chip.
And you could also
he didn't really have a choice in that.
And it could be like and the fact that it's Echo and it's 5s and that's the thing about Bad Batch that's the biggest, I think, missed opportunity there is that he didn't mention 5s in that arc.
Yeah.
I take that last in the last scene where before he joins the Bad Batch, when he's like looking and then Rex taps him on the shoulder and he's just broken out of this trance. I take it in like in that moment he was thinking about Fives. That's just my headcanon, but
probably
he's like there and he's like, Echo, you and me can go way back, and it's like so do Fives. It's I don't know, but just I think they could start with that arc because that'd be a fun way to just ease you in with like it's fun adventure, Bad Batch, and just seeing Echo in the new armor and stuff, and getting like the Wookiees. And I think with that arc, it was going to be connected, like the Wookiees' connection to the trees and the nature of their planet, and that sounds like really cool stuff. You could just like that's an immediate way to just start like widening the universe and like getting the native wildlife because there's Trandoshans in that arc. Yoda's in that arc, and you see his good relations with the Wookiees, but you could just say, look, this has happened during Revenge of the Sith, because it says it's in the immediate aftermath, and they're trying to find new purpose. So if we don't see them execute Order 66, it'd be a bit weird. I feel like we should see it,
or either that, or see them not execute Order 66,
or not. Yeah, I think Echo would be the one to not, but I mean, I might change my opinion on that, and I reckon they would be the one.
They could also have like broken chips so they start attacking.
Yeah, well, that
Jedi, but like other clones.
I think Wolf's is broken or something because when he first sees Kanan in Rebels, he's like, "He's a Jedi," and he starts shooting it. He full on like shoots it in there. So maybe he's got like half his chip in, and just show him and Gregor during it. I don't know. It's because we've got a Jedi death montage of Order 66. We never got a clone montage of Order 66, if that makes sense. Like. If that, like the clones that we don't know what happened to them, that's a perfect segue, is like Echo and then the Bad Batch, and then it cuts to here's what Wolf's doing, here's what Gregor's doing, here's what this, and anyway, I just kind of went off on a bit of a tangent there. If you want to keep going, Angus.
I think we've kind of gone over most of my list, actually.
Okay, but there's so much that there's so much potential and just the kind of heartbreaking stuff you could have and the team dynamic.
The intermission phase between the Imperial gear, the Empire is phasing in, but you haven't completely replaced all of the Republic,
which is
clones, and there's clone armor, there's clone weapons, but there are also stormtroopers. They're not gonna pull you out. You're in the middle of a campaign. They're not gonna be like, stop fighting. We need to give you a different set of armor, right?
Yeah, exactly.
That's not what they do. So
absolutely,
you're not gonna go. You're not gonna go to sleep as part of the Republic and wake up a part of the Empire.
So like they face into like they're in a battle, and then you just see stormtroopers like as reinforcements arrive. And it's like you don't know why they're there.
I mean,
like,
also
the clones don't know who they are or what they're doing.
Yeah, and they're just confused. They're just like, wait, who are these guys? And then which ones do and which ones defect and which ones are like just. It seems like it's the Bad Batch of mercenaries. It says, but that's just them. I reckon Rex is like seeking out Echo or something, and you have like some tragic thing where Echo dies, and that's why he's not on the walker with them. There's a lot of unanswered questions that'll be interesting to.
Or they never find it.
See.
Like, or Rex never finds the bad Echo in that.
Yeah.
And he doesn't know what happened to him.
Yeah, oh god, I'm just thinking like the clone PTSD and like what they're going through psychologically is just like we just killed our generals, and that's why I think it needs to be. I mean, the Bad Batch obviously don't work for a specific general, but I feel like just them just having the realization of, oh my god, we fought a fake war.
The thing is, do they ever know that? Does anyone else ever find out that Palpatine was Sheev?
Like, there are people. There are going to be people who worked out, but most aren't.
I think.
Right.
Well, he kind of publicly. Oh, that's right. He says the attempt of my life has left me scarred and deformed, and it's not. I think. Well, like people like Ahsoka, I feel like knew, and she kind of says so in Rebels. And I think. That'd be interesting.
But most people didn't even know that Count Dooku wasn't the leader of the Separatists.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. I think that I want to see like Palpatine, like a lot of stuff of him addressing the Senate and like more just stuff of like Jedi are evil, and seeing the public perception of the Jedi and look where the saviors and we're bringing in this new regime. We've stamped out the past, and that's another thing in the Vader comic. They have like Masameda. He's like Palpatine's like blue bodyguard guy, and he's like there's like I think it's the first Vader comic. He's like doing a speech to the citizens of Coruscant, and he chucks Yoda's lightsaber into this thing to be like burnt or something, and like Vader and Palpatine are watching, and the citizens are all cheering, and it's just like that's really interesting stuff to me.
Yeah,
and that's another thing is like a Coruscant uprising, like of just clones and the citizens of Coruscant, and they go into the portal and they round up everybody to just storm the palace. And Palpatine's actually scared for his life for the first time since the Zillo Beast. And just Trace and Rafa, like older grizzled Trace and Rafa are just there. They're all just like, I don't know, mate. I think that'd be really cool. And just like, then Vader's sent down to just deal with it. And then you get Cody versus Rex on the ground, and like, they're on opposing sides. And
yeah,
I don't know. There's so many crazy like things that we are. Cody is like a surefire bet, I reckon.
Yeah.
If he doesn't get shown, then like
that's the other thing is the guys who leaked the Bad Batch, and they've got a pretty good track record at this point. 2 or 3 of their scoops have so far been confirmed, and the other one is the Rebels sequel, which is obviously you could guess that, but they're definitely not guessing it. They're like based on
I reckon Cody
so far
is gonna have just at least an episode, or maybe not even Cody. He's just a safe bet.
I think
Order 66 is in the past.
Yeah.
The chip has like worn off.
Yeah.
What the fuck have I just done?
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, I think in Legends, correct me if I'm wrong, he trains stormtroopers.
Yeah.
We don't know what happens to him in canon.
He's like a teacher.
I think it'd be cool if he's sent to hunt down the Bad Batch, because I think that he could be like a good season 1, season 2 villain even. Because I think if you look at like how they like the fact that they did Bad Batch and they kept all the stuff. Well, they kept Cody in the first episode, and that he's worked with them before, and you set up that camaraderie and him like shaking Hunter's hand or whatever. Like you've built the fact that look, they've got like a trust and stuff.
Or even if he's
so then for him,
he's hunting him and then
lets him go.
Once he finds him.
Yeah.
Because he realizes what he's doing.
Yeah, it's interesting, and I think you go more tragic route, and you eventually get Rex involved, and then it's the Rex Cody standoff. We need that, and I think Filoni knows that we need that. And I thought that was going to be maybe in Rebels they were going to somehow just surprise Cody thing. I don't know. And he was almost. I think he was almost put in him and Thrawn. Almost, I think Thrawn almost brought Cody. It was almost going to bring Cody in to deal with them, and Starkiller was almost in Rebels, and there was a lot of things they considered but didn't end up doing because they're saving it. I reckon it's all going to come in this show potentially.
The other thing you could do is like the chips obviously don't fucking mind control clones for the rest of their life.
Yeah,
but like I think they just either it just slowly wears off and it slowly just realizes the guilt what's in, or it could be like the chip stops controlling them, but they're still stuck in their mindset. They still think that's normal until like. For example, Cody goes to Rex, and Rex is like, "That wasn't you, I was a chip," and it just makes sense to Cody.
It just clicks. And something I really like to see is if it'd have to be like near the start of the series, you could have like the Bad Batch go to a planet, and there's like a contained like planet wide battle going on or something, and there's clones and droids still fighting that don't know the war is over, and they've been locked in battle for months or something. And they don't know it's over. There was no Jedi around. There's nothing. It's just normalcy because they just get the chip and it's like, okay, execute orders. But it's nothing because there's no Jedi around. And they don't know that the war's over. Something like that, I think could be really cool.
Yeah.
And then, like, what was I going to say? I don't know, like, in seeing, like, characters like Kalani again.
Callus, early life. How grow into the rank.
Even like characters like Price, and like she's in the from what I've read, the first Thrawn book, she's on Lothal and stuff, and that's interesting. And she actually cares about Lothal, but she gets corrupted over time. Sorry?
She like scams her way.
Yeah, that's right. To like the higher class stuff, and she's trying to like move up, and it's just really interesting, and just show us the classism on Coruscant even more.
Ezra's parents.
Oh wow, I haven't even thought about that. That's what I'm saying. There's so much potential. There's so much you think. Yeah, Mira and Ephraim Bridger or whatever. Like they're speaking out against the Empire.
Yeah.
Like I mean, Dave's executive.
We've completely dropped the Let's Talk the Bad Batch series.
I know, it's just
let's talk about what we want from our like ideal perfect series, you know?
Yeah. I think now what we've talked about, 20% of it maybe makes it in the series, and that's even being optimistic. I don't know, like that'd be so much to juggle. But the fact that we can think of this, like hopefully they're thinking about this as well.
Yeah. Dave Filoni, he's not an idiot.
Yes.
Right.
He's the guy.
If he had the choice, if he had
gave us Susan Mendel,
I guarantee everything we said would be explored. Maybe not in the TV show, but he would have the thing. But there's only so much time he has, so much time that people who work at Lucasfilm have, so much money Lucasfilm and Disney have, and they have to choose what can we show and what can we afford to not show, you know?
We know from other things that they don't really want to spend as much money on it.
Yeah. I think, like, if I was to narrow it down to a top 3 things, or let me say, top 3. So transition from Republic to Empire. This is like out of no particular order. That. So, transition to Republic to Empire.
That can be incredibly vague. Like, you have an entire...
Well, I'd like it to be just in depth, but I mean, if it's kind of just...
No, I mean, what you said, there's multiple things we've said we could fall into that, and I'm not objecting to that.
Yeah.
That could be its own mini-series.
Yeah, exactly,
the Republic turning into the Empire.
That should be, that could be like the second arc is like the Bad Batch. I think it's going to, they said they're doing mercenary missions, so that's where you could run into like Crimson Dawn kind of stuff. So that's another thing, is like...
They could even like team up with Fett or something as well.
Yeah, exactly. And he's like, he was the son of the clone template, and
then that's when they sort of like they somehow mold that arc there into the Boba Fett versus Cad Bane thing.
Yes, yeah.
So they have them doing things, and then one of their things that they have to do is find Cad Bane, and then that's when
that'd be that's good. That's good. And then you can have Beckett in that arc with Aura Singh.
Yeah.
And there's more like Solo connections. Yeah. The foil killed her or whatever. Solo's great.
It gets way too much
hate. I mean, it doesn't so much get hate, but it gets to way too much. It's so average, and it's like, but if you're a Star Wars fan, like it feels like rich, and the universe feels alive.
If there's parts of that movie that I absolutely hate, but it was a good movie.
What moments do you hate? I think
it doesn't.
Honestly, my biggest problem, and it doesn't deserve. It's not something that ruins the movie, but I didn't like it. A lot of the community didn't like it. The name Solo, the surname Solo, that was given by a random dude on Corral.
You see, I know, I recognize it's dumb. It doesn't really bother me at all. I just like, okay, cool. It's a bit like.
You don't even have to change a scene, right?
Yeah.
It's just like,
actually,
I don't have people.
See, now
I'm Solo.
Now you're getting me thinking.
I'm Han Solo.
Now you're getting me thinking. Yeah. Okay, keep going. Yeah.
It doesn't change the scene. It's not.
Yeah, exactly.
But the only difference is, and this would fix the biggest problem in the movie for me, because it just doesn't feel like Han Solo anymore. It loses the mystery, right?
Yeah.
All you have to do is him come up with the name on the spot.
Yeah.
And it's fixed.
Yeah.
Rather than the Imperial.
Yeah, and you can interpret it as, did he just come up with that, or is that actually a surname? And you can it's just ambiguous rather than an Imperial guy gave it. Yeah, I know what you're saying. Yeah. That's true. Yeah, that's something that they probably could have thought through better. But
it could be something that Kira said, and he chose that name because
he loves
meant a lot to him. Yeah. Right? Ruffian, smuggler, but his heart he still has a soft spot for love, you know?
Yes, yeah. But
he was in the
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Okay, Corbin. I've just seen what you've typed. No, let's just do Mandalorian season 2 now if you want. We could cut this into 2 bits if you want, but
I was just thinking because it's going on a long time.
Yeah, well, that's what happens when you talk about Star Wars. We've gone down the rabbit hole. We can try and kind of wrap it up here quickly. I mean, it's like if people are willing to listen.
I don't have as much to speak about The Mandalorian as I did the...
Oh, absolutely. I mean,
because I think
it's more self-contained.
As far as The Mandalorian goes,
but it won't
most of what I want has already been all but confirmed.
Yeah, right. Well, we'll see, yeah. Just before we go to Mandalorian, because we'll touch on that in a bit. I just wanted to say that very next scene after that solo scene, and he says that we'll have you flying in no time. The Mimban, Han Solo was a stormtrooper scene in the gritty trench warfare. Can we just get like a 10-episode arc about the Bad Batch working for the Empire for a hot minute, and they're just like this
10-episode arc that goes for a minute. I like that.
Don't get caught up. Yeah, it's just like the Clone Wars micro series just microed even more. It's like
micro series, tiny.
Yeah, but I just love can we just get
because that battle has been going on, or maybe not. It might not have been the same battle, but season 1 of the Clone Wars.
Yeah. I know what you're going to say.
They say
the
battle's on Mimbar.
Yeah.
Right?
What is it? Like the something. This one goes out to the mud jumpers.
The mud jumpers of the 224.
What's on Mimbar? That's it. Yeah.
And
that's great. I love Wookiees.
Maybe the fighting stopped and picked that up. But it was the same campaign, right?
Possibly.
From the start
of the war.
Of the Clone Wars.
Yeah.
When Han Solo fucking...
Yeah. I mean, it's the same... It's the same kind of thing as Felucia's just constantly under siege throughout the show. Like, that's a similar kind of thing. And I'd love to see the Empire on Felucia. Yeah.
Yeah.
And, oh, God. Quinlan Voss, can we just get him, actually not being goofy and, how... can we get him, how he turns to the dark side with Ventress and stuff and how they take his character more like he was in Legends? Just... let's see that in the Bad Batch series. Let's see Quinlan Voss back and And also, can we see all the Clone Commando squads, please? Can we let's just see all the ones we don't know about and
honestly,
hit me up with Bad Batch.
If we get a show between the time period of between the Clone Wars and the Empire. We need an episode, at least an episode, of The Mandalorian, because he was with
Death
the
Watch.
Mandalorian since the Clone Wars. He got rescued during the Clone Wars.
Yeah, I love that scene.
And him doing shit.
He'd be a kid still. He'd be in training. So even if it's a training episode.
Yeah. I want to see Death Watch. What's happened?
When that flashback happened, and I saw the Claw W logo on their armor.
Yes.
I screeched.
I didn't. I internally screeched because I was with my family, so it was a bit weird, but because.
Yeah, I know. I was watching it with my family too, and they had no clue. It's Death Watch.
Yeah, right. Okay, fair enough. Yeah, that would have been and they didn't know either. I think I said that's Death Watch. That's Death Watch, and I've shown my parents the Clone Wars, so they know. But I don't know if they wouldn't have known it without me. But what was I going to say? Funny thing that's probably funnier in my head than it is. I bet with you, Corbin, that episode that we'd see Bo-Katan. They teased me.
You said anywhere in that series. It's a 5% bet. It's still going. You said anywhere in that series.
Oh yeah, or the first episode of season 2. Yes, Bo-Katan will appear. They teased me so hard with that episode. They literally showed the Death Watch, which she was a part of. Then they proceed to have the cliffhanger of the whole entire season be the Darksaber. Who was the last person to wield the Darksaber that we know in canon? Bo-Katan.
Which means she got murdered by
They showed us Death Watch. They showed us Bo-Katan. They showed us Death Watch. They showed us Bo-Katan. But sorry, they showed us Death Watch. They showed us the Darksaber. They did not show us Bo-Katan. Sorry?
She would not have just given the Darksaber to him.
She wouldn't have given it to him.
No, they fought. They fought, and he thinks she's dead. That's my theory. Like, look at this. Now we're talking about Mandalorian. There you go. This is Mandalorian. Here we go.
Right? He's not a warrior. He's not oral. He storms in there with a bunch of stormtroopers.
I'll tell you something.
They shoot at Bo, and she gets and she loses the Darksaber. He doesn't defeat her. He doesn't have any claim to it.
Potentially.
But that's just he is. He's
well,
the Empire.
Here's my theory. Here's my theory. Okay. So, all right, he is. All right, number one, he's Force sensitive.
Nope.
All right, hang on. I'm not done yet. Second, he is a descendant of Tar Vizsla and feels that he is the rightful owner of that saber. All right, watch it happen now. Yeah, I'm telling you. No, okay, there's been some comments made by the guy who plays him, all right, that hint that is the case. So I'm not basing this off nothing. I'm basing this off wanting it because I feel like it could be cool if done right. And second of all, he said some things. That he's one of the ones, and there's all these things he said, and it's just like, well, what could he possibly be talking about? I think he's Mandalorian. I think he's a descendant of Tar Vizsla, the first person to wield the Darksaber, which is why he feels he's rightfully owning it, and I think he's Force sensitive. Maybe the Force sensitive's a little less, but yeah, that's what I think. And I think we're going to see that in season 2. Confirmed.
Obviously, pre-Vizsla had the claim to it. He was a direct descendant. Even if Gideon, even if he's like some less direct descendant, and he thinks it. I'm 99% sure that Bo-Katan and Vizsla were more than just lieutenant and commander.
Whoa.
Right? No.
That's an interesting one. No, hang on.
Spoken about.
Bo.
It makes sense, right?
No, but it was Bo and Obi. They had Corky together.
No, they didn't.
Corky Kenobi is real. It's because of Bo, not Satine.
What if he's actually Corky Vizsla?
I'm telling you, the people thought the Mandalorian was going to be Corky, like a grown-up, cynical Corky. I heard that theory, and I was like, "All right, I'm down for that." It's Din Djarin, but it's. I think 100%. Like all the Ahsoka rumors are 100% true because look at Siege of Mandalore. And also the Bo-Katan rumors have got to be true. First of all, the Darksaber basically confirms she's going to show up, at least in flashbacks. And second of all, what's the last scene between them in Siege of Mandalore? It's them shaking hands, and she goes, "Goodbye, Ahsoka Tano." It's like, goodbye until we meet up again in Mandalorian later this year. This is the kind of connectivity I've wanted them to be doing that they didn't do in the sequels, but now they're doing it with the TV shows. They're like, watch Mandalorian. Hey, now go watch Clone Wars. Hey, look, Siege of Mandalore. Hey, look, now Bo-Katan and Ahsoka are showing up. Good job you watched that. That was like the most that got more viewers, I think, than Mandalorian had at its peak time. Those last 2 episodes, I believe, which is crazy to me. So it's purposeful.
Is it really crazy to you, coming from a person that thinks that Siege of Mandalore is better than the original trilogy?
Oh, it is. It's for me it is. It's probably objectively you can argue, but like for me, what I want from Star Wars, like that was my ultimate Star Wars thing.
I think it's a nostalgia thing, right?
Potentially. You mean the OT or me for Clone Wars?
Well, everyone, obviously. Star Wars is at the point where there are basically 3 generations of movies for 3 generations of people.
Yes.
And the kids today, they're like 6-year-olds and 8-year-olds and 10-year-olds and all those kids.
Yes.
They're going to think the sequel trilogy was the best.
Is the best, yeah.
That's what got them into Star Wars, right?
Okay.
Just like
exactly,
we think that it's the prequels were the best because
I believe the original trilogy is a better trilogy, but the prequels are a better era.
Because of the Clone Wars, too.
Yeah.
I've only got a soft spot for the prequels because of the Clone Wars. And just like
I like the
older
prequels
fans,
even anyway.
They think the original trilogy because that's what they were first exposed to.
I mean,
I was first exposed to original trilogy.
I was first exposed to original trilogy as well.
Actually,
and just the way the Mandalorian kind of blurs
it's like
between two trilogies.
It's 70%.
It's set between the original trilogy and the sequel trilogy, but it ties in.
I mean, look at the Clone Wars flashbacks. You see the Separatists invading.
Into the Clone Wars, right? It's
Darksaber, yeah. Bo and Ahsoka coming.
Goes, it may as well be set during
OT.
OT, yeah, because it's ended. But right, that's still what's going on in the galaxy, and it's going to lead into the First Order somehow or other.
Yeah, I don't know how much I want that. I just kind of want to forget that trilogy because I think that trilogy isn't very good. Now, obviously, you're saying, the generation of kids today will love it, but
right.
It needs a Clone Wars like show.
Is okay.
I don't think it's even okay because I think Force Awakens and Rise of Skywalker aren't very good. Last Jedi's in isolation is the best one, in my opinion. It does not gel though with the other ones. But I think in isolation, it's the best one. It's the most well-crafted film.
It wasn't original.
It wasn't.
But, and it had its problems.
It has a lot of problems in hindsight.
But as the first movie in a trilogy, it did a good job at setting up the trilogy.
And the first movie since the prequels.
It came along and threw all that out of the window in favor of its own.
Yeah. Although what I like is that there was more love for the prequels there, and the whole idea of like the Jedi and the legacy of the Jedi being failure and Luke's stance in that film is actually interesting and had a few execution problems, but the idea for me was enough to be like, that's cool that Luke found out about the Jedi and got cynical. And that's why I think Ahsoka and Luke have to meet, and she's got to tell them, hey, I got backstabbed. This is what the Jedi were really like. Now let's go on an adventure to find Ezra, That's got to happen in the Rebel sequel. But I think that's an interesting stance for the character to take. There's some execution problems, and the way he dies from just kind of being tired on the rock is a bit weird. But I like the idea that he stands out and he's force projecting. That's the thing from Legends. So Rian Johnson was actually pulling, I think he's a bigger Star Wars fan than J.J. Abrams, or he kind of, it's interesting because I don't think Rise of Skywalker just felt like JJ's just throwing recognizable things on screen without that much thought. I mean, it's tricky because I don't know. Sometimes I go, oh, that's actually kind of cool. And Kylo is, I think in 9, he's not very good. I think 7 and 8 is pretty decent. But
the reason that the original trilogy worked and the sequel trilogy didn't was the original trilogy, one, it was one person's vision. Right,
yes.
Even though they weren't planned out in advance, it was one person's vision.
I mean, and I think
and two, there was no existing universe to restrict.
Yeah, exactly. They all felt the same.
Yes, which is what people when people say, oh, look, you don't get that much, political context and what, like, world building for why is the galaxy in this state. It's like, because that was the first one. Look at the prequels; they did that really well. Is they're showing you that it's a different time. The sequels, which are 30 years later, should not feel the same as the prequels. They literally kill the world building in the first one. They have Starkiller Base just destroy the Hosnian Prime.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you show us that?
Like Hosnian Prime blow up. I'm like, all right, that's not Coruscant. That's the most important thing from the scene. That wasn't Coruscant. That's all I cared about in that scene.
And then they didn't expand with Coruscant at all.
Yeah. And why couldn't we have started the trilogy with Leia? Like in Star Wars Bloodline, if either of you have read that, that's a great book. It's one of the best like character developments for Leia ever, and basically she almost becomes in that book. She's like in the political scene, and she almost becomes the Supreme Chancellor of the New Republic. But then her identity as the daughter of Darth Vader gets exposed, and then she gets outed. Why isn't that the sequels? No. Why isn't that the sequels? And maybe, you actually stay consistent with what you set up in The Force Awakens is that the First Order are terrorists. That's what it seemed like to me. The first time you see them and slaughtering that village, you're like, oh, this is like an imperial cult terrorist thing, which is cooler than just the Empire again.
To us, right, we see the First Order come. They're obviously a threat.
Yes.
But when they pull out, when the authorities, when the New Republic eventually goes, we'll check it out. There's blast marks, there's dead civilians. Oh yeah, a bunch of pirates came and blew up the village. Big deal, right? That's why the First Order could reign free, because They were smart.
Yeah, but you get none of that.
And the New Republic didn't give enough fucks. But no one told us that in the trilogy.
Yes,
it's
and
like,
that's...
Oh, yeah, they exist, and the New
that
Republic
just...
didn't do something about them just because.
And it just makes it feel small and secluded and just not connected to anything. And it's just like, especially Last Jedi, when you're seeing these like resistance ships and the First Order ships chasing you, you feel like that's all that's going on in the whole galaxy. And I hate that for Star Wars, because when you're doing the main trilogy, continuing on from the original, you can't have just it feel that small in scale, because you need to give the sense that there's consequences for what's happening here. You don't get that, I feel like.
Yeah.
And Canto Bight tried to do that in Last Jedi, but it the message was okay. It's like eat the rich and whatever, but it's like it just feels ham-fisted in there the way they do it. It's not executed very well.
Yeah, I know what you mean. But
I think the spiritual Force stuff in Last Jedi is actually okay in isolation, and the Force connection is an interesting thing, and they in 9, I'll admit, they do kind of build on it, but they might as well have just been the son and daughter of Mortis at that point. And have that dyad or whatever.
Light side person, powerful dark side person.
And then and literally you've got a literal dagger that you call the Sith dagger. That's the dagger of Mortis. And Palpatine is immortal. Sounds a bit like a god, you know? You had the perfect explanation.
It's kind of like, it's so... I mean, this would be probably, I don't know, but it's so dumb how they have, like, if you use... You're definitely going to be in this spot at this time to take, so that the image on this dagger fits perfectly as to where you need to go.
Oh, that's so bad when they land in the exact right angle for to get the Death Star. Oh my god, that scene is like more convenient than anything in any other Star Wars film. She happens to pull out the thing and happens to get it in the exact place to line it up. It's just so, and the fact that they find the dagger, they fall into a bit of sand, which is exactly where the dagger is. It's like, okay, Star Wars is convenient and New Hope is convenient, but it's not that obviously convenient. It is not that obviously convenient.
There's so much.
It's ridiculous.
But that will be spoken about a bit more on my channel when my video comes out that we recorded.
Yes, your Rise of Skywalker spoiler review, which has been long have they waited.
Yeah, exactly.
That's funny. I made a Rise of Skywalker joke. Okay, the conversation's kind of stagnated now. All right. I wanted to mention a thing about Mandalorian quickly. You realize, it's connected to that. So in Clone Wars, Ahsoka beats Maul. Shouldn't she be the rightful ruler of Mandalore?
Yes.
But she doesn't. She doesn't beat him with the dark. Like, he doesn't have the Darksaber in combat. So does it not count? Yeah. Or?
But also, it's a fight to the death. Control of Mandalore, isn't it? Basically,
so technically, Obi-Wan is.
Why Obi-Wan?
Which would make sense, because Obi-Wan's the team, you know?
No, but why Obi-Wan? He doesn't beat anyone. Because...
Yeah. Ahsoka doesn't kill Maul, so, like, technically she didn't beat it. Technically she didn't defeat him, even though she beat him.
She wouldn't take over
him per se, so she doesn't get the claim.
Actually, you're right, because people are like...
Gets put in charge.
Yeah, because people... Yeah. I was going to say, though, because people are like always like, oh, well, why did Ahsoka beat Maul? That shouldn't have happened. First of all, she's been trained by Anakin Skywalker plus a bunch of other Jedi. She's got a lot of experience. Second of all, she does not beat him. The fight is won by Maul. He knocks her sabers off. She loses. It's only when he gets cocky and wants to, like, he runs at her or whatever, he tries to flip around her, and that she just maneuvers around him. She loses the fight. She loses the fight. It's this, and it's consistent. He loses to Obi-Wan, a Padawan in Phantom Menace. He loses to Ahsoka, a Padawan in Siege of Mandalore. He loses to Kanan, a Padawan in Rebels. You know, so it's consistent with the character. He just overestimates his abilities. His weakness is Padawans and the low ground.
That's why he should team up with Vader.
I think.
Oh my god! Don't even tease me with that.
Himself. He's not who he's supposed to be. Yeah. So he's not his best. He was taken as a child, forced to be the dark side. They explore that, right? They explore that he was a tool of the dark side. Exactly, he never had a choice in his fate.
He's an anti-hero.
And the subtext is that's why he can't win.
Yes, and he's stuck, and he's
not him.
Yeah. And he's stuck in just this endless cycle of trying to gain power, and then he just loses it. And he tries to think his way out of it. This is what Sam Witwer said. Like last year, he was teasing what was going to happen, and like he's saying that for once in this arc, Maul tries to figure his way out of it. He wants to team up with Ahsoka and destroy Sidious. And there's your what if Star Wars. I honestly thought they were going to get to Coruscant. I'm glad they didn't, because I like that they didn't mess too much with the continuity of the film and it just ran alongside. And I think the ending that's my favorite scene in Star Wars. The last 5 minutes is just, oh my god.
I want to say ironic. I could be wrong in saying it. Like the moment he tries to do good, nobody believes him.
Yeah, exactly.
He's the bad guy.
Yeah, and it's the same thing as like Dooku's like, hey, the Senate's under control of a Sith Lord,
and Obi-Wan doesn't believe.
He's just like, no.
Of course, you'd say that. Like,
yeah.
When has propaganda not been a useful tool?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Right.
So, and it's
if you had one of your opponents, you're like, of course you're like, my master is pulling the strings.
Yeah.
Your republic is doomed to fail. That hurt. That voice hurt.
That sounded like
you know what I mean, right?
That sounded like the guy in the D Squad arc. Gregor's he's like, you are dishwasher, Gregor. You are dishwasher. It is. It's like, what's his name? Gregory. No, Gregory's another character. Gregory. Who's that? He's in something else. But whatever his name is, or maybe it is Gregory. The separatist battle droids are about to blow up the Republic cruiser and destroy you. You will see. I don't know. That's not a very good impression, but yeah, but like, yeah. So your point was that it's why would you believe? Yeah, but it's like Dooku and Maul were both. I mean, Dooku's not even he gets evil. I mean, he does some evil stuff, but inherently, he just walked away from the Jedi for the same reason Ahsoka did. He saw what they were becoming and the corruption that had like overtaken. So, like, Dooku's not inherently a bad guy.
You must not.
As a leader of the Separatists, Dooku was a good guy.
Exactly.
He was also a Sith Lord.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. He's also a Sith Lord. Exactly. Yeah, because. It's Palpatine's always the ultimate villain. He's the one that doesn't have much morality, and he's just kind of just does what he wants, takes power, and he's just uses people. And
that's literally the only continuity with Rise of Skywalker, and
is that he's just a bad guy. Yeah,
exactly. Strongest.
Yeah, and I think with but yeah, just what was I gonna say? I love that it's like Ahsoka was gonna join him. Until she asked, "Oh, what do you want with Anakin? He's the key to everything." Da 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 da. And as soon as she hears that, which is obviously consistent as like with her character, she would never believe that. So she's like, "Well, no, you're lying. Don't try and BS me now." So that's the moment she snaps and she's like, "Okay, no more." And then we get the best fight on the show.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because then you see at the end, like this is what Filoni's talked about, and I think it's so great. I've talked to Corbin about this before. I might have talked to Angus as well, but like that the Siege of Mandalore recontextualizes how you look at the whole saga, and if you've only seen that arc, you kind of get the whole story because you see this guy Anakin. He's this happy guy, and the start of the thing is like the start of a movie. You introduce the characters. You see Obi-Wan. Okay, he's the heroic Jedi, and then Anakin's his apprentice. You get that dynamic. Then you get, okay, look at this person, Ahsoka, that's come back into his life. He's the master of Ahsoka, and then you have that heartfelt like goodbye between them. So you're like, okay, now she's going off to do that. He's going off somewhere else. So they've parted ways. Then she gets there. She gets told by this guy with horns, tattoos. He's like, hey, he's going to kill a bunch of people.
Yeah.
And then she goes, no, that's not true. And then flash to the last scene.
Impossible.
It's impossible. Yeah. And then you go to the last scene. What do you see? You see that guy as the guy in the mask, and with the breathing, and you see through the eye. You can see the eyes inside the mask, and you humanize Vader in a way that it's never been done before. And you get the significance of the sabers. So he picks up the saber, and you can infer, if you've never seen Star Wars, you go, oh, he's picking up that saber because he is the guy that gave her those two sabers, and now he sees one of them here. and it's this like
they have meaning to him.
Yeah, exactly. But you can, if you remember the start of it,
he gave them to it.
We've recorded for 54 minutes according to the little
54 minutes.
Yes, that's a long one. A lot of fun. This is an hour-long podcast.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Wow.
A lot of podcasts.
Do you know what? Yeah, exactly. So do you know what? We're giving you full-length podcasts. I mean, this could be split in half, but it's not even worth it. We might as well just. This was a fun conversation, but but just.
I reckon there's some bits where we've just been like
yes, there's maybe
you could have cut out. But
I suppose. But podcasts are kind of just they're clean. It's kind of nice, but yeah. I might cut out some stuff. I'll see.
Don't edit this into something. Just make it.
Just bleep the swearing.
Potentially. We're trying to make this. We're trying to make this.
Just like make it flow a bit better.
Maybe potentially. I mean, some of the silence is okay, but maybe just I guess if it's long silences, But we could even be cutting out what we're saying here, but
basically more enjoyable to listen to.
But so basically, what we've established here is that we need a Jar Jar standalone where he trains a little clumsy kid to be a senator.
Exactly.
And
we get to that conclusion.
Because it is what we need, what the fans need. We also need a remake of the holiday special.
That's, I think, another thing we need. That's quite important. For I think, like you know the meme. It's like humanity if we got that stuff. It's like, and it's like a futuristic. It's just completely.
It was bad. It is bad. Doesn't need to be done again.
The holiday special.
Yeah.
So there's a little cameo.
Suzuki strikes again.
Oh, nobody will get that.
Nobody at all.
I'll tell Suzuki, if we're using that code name, that Jon Favreau has said he'd like to do another holiday special, which is why he's put a bunch of holiday special references in The Mandalorian. So just be careful.
I will tell him that.
He would do it. He said, I mean, I don't know how much he's joking there, but I'd watch another holiday special. I would.
Yeah. As long as it's a bit not a musical or anything.
And I would like to see Jar Jar in the Obi-Wan series.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
Why do I get the feeling we've picked up another useless life form?
Just because as long as Jar Jar is not like the Jar Jar in the musical parody called Annie.
Yeah.
That Jar Jar is
off his
head.
Off his head. Because he was rumored to be, like a year ago, there was a rumor that Jar Jar's going to be in the Obi-Wan series. It's like Jar Jar with a beard. So that would be funny. It probably won't come true. But then there's the Hayden Christensen rumors, which let's get him back, please, as Anakin. Angus, you've gone silent. Oh, wait, you're just being quiet. Okay. I thought you might have disconnected.
I've kind of spoken my mind today.
Yeah, I think we can probably wrap it here, but what we've actually established here is that Siege of Mandalore is the best Star Wars content, period, and that Vader scene. I think we can all agree that the Vader scene is so good. Like, it's just top. It's my favorite scene, just individual scene since the OT that we've ever got in Star Wars, and possibly even more, because the way you've just like the fact that you can get the whole story from that one scene and just the significance of the saber and that this guy Maul was right and the bad guy was right. And then to sum it up with that final shot of the clone helmet with Ahsoka's markings.
You don't need to watch the prequels
to get the Siege of Mandalore.
To get Siege of Mandalore.
Yeah. Because you already have seen the humanity of the clones and the connection of the clones to Ahsoka, so you get that. And then when it's all stripped away from them, you still get that emotional tug of like, wow, these guys that just paid tribute to her are now turning on her. It's so incredibly done. And the way that it's also a payoff for the Fives thing, that's the one thing that you'll be a bit confused about if you haven't seen the rest of the series. But it still works. It's like, here's the guy that found out about all this. And I love that how it just works on every level. Is if you're a fan of the show, it's like, oh my god, this is the finale we've been waiting for. And if you haven't, it's so much more of like, it's deserving to be in theaters than Rise of Skywalker. So much more deserving.
Yeah, I agree.
Which is why people are petitioning for
intercut.
Yeah,
like I want an official intercut of Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah, there've been a bunch of fan ones. I haven't been able to watch one yet. Actually, I think I did do one. It's all illegal. But Yeah, they should just do an official one. Put it on Disney Plus or wherever. Just put it on YouTube. Just put it on YouTube.
Yes, because the Disney board members would love that.
Oh yes. I mean,
Premium.
yeah, but no, but people have done some. I've heard that there's a lot of edits that YouTube Premium. But I've heard that there's a lot of edits of it that people have done 4-hour cuts with Siege of Mandalore cut in, and even Jedi Fallen Order, the OG Clone Wars, which I love that they reference that with like Shakti has been sent to protect the Chancellor. Siege of Mandalore, mate. It's in fact that's only the first 2 episodes. The second 2 are just basically like sad stuff. It's just call it sad stuff. That's it. That's the arc. Shattered. It's literally the episode names are Shattered and Victory and Death. So
that very
morbid.
The Clone Wars. I don't think anything has made me cry as much as the Clone Wars did.
Oh mate, you should watch Bridge to Terabithia.
Ahsoka leaving, I cried. Fi's dying, I cried. Right, that fucking ending scene of
I don't even remember if I cried.
And the
I cried internally.
That shit hit hard.
Oh my god. Burying the Dead is the most... Kevin Kiner, Sean Kiner, and Dean Kiner, and Dave and Glenn Russell, who nobody talks about, and every other composer that I'm also not talking about because I'm struggling to remember names. They are gods, and they have created some amazing Star Wars music, and they need to be doing the films going forward and the TV shows. And they're doing Bad Batch. They are doing Bad Batch. Just music in general. In fact, you're right. Ahsoka Leaves is just... and Death of a Master, which they use for Evan Peele's death, and Five's death, and that droid's death, which droid dies in the D-Squad arc. Which one that is, he dies, and they use it for his death. So we get that used 3 times. I'm surprised they didn't use it. I was thinking, they're going to use it for this scene. As soon as I saw the Burying the Dead scene, I'm like, are they going to use... But I'm like, nah, okay, this isn't that. This is like burying... Like, this is... Oh my god,
Burying
this is
the
better.
Dead, that was...
Anyway, oh my god.
Videos, you'll know Burying the Dead is always Oliver's name on
Agaria. Agaria, yes. Yes. I don't know. Well, recently it has been. Yeah. But that scene, that it's got no dialogue. The last word in the show is "come on," said by Rex. Fun fact, Ahsoka's first word in that arc is hello. Her last word is there. Literally. It's hello, master. It's been a while. And then at the end, it's just there. She points to the Y-wing. Hello there. It's incredible. And I'm telling you, that was intentional. That's got to be intentional, right? But just that scene with the clones never get a burial or anything like that in Star Wars. So to see that just pure expression, like the Rex and Ahsoka are like the moral compasses of the show. So to see them just honoring the clones in that way, and to see that level of just like, yes, you just tried to kill us, but we still love you like brothers, and to have Jesse as literally the symbol of the Republic, blood stain, mud stain on all over his helmet.
Yeah.
It's so beautifully tragic, and just not even like seeing the death and just seeing the heads on pikes, it even makes it more... It even makes it worse, just not to know that so much death has happened and not to have seen it. It's almost darker in that way.
Yeah.
And it's... Oh, my God. Burying the Dead, the track and the whole scene is just incredible. And then it's the icing on the cake is obviously the time jump forward. And just... That's what Rebels should have been. That animate... Like, that look... how the stormtroopers looked, how the snowtroopers looked, the probe droids, that should have been... I wish they just continued the Clone Wars style into Rebels, which obviously it's 3D animated, but then you go to Resistance, which looks nowhere near as good, in my opinion, and I think in a lot of people's opinion. And then Bad Batch, I think that's got to be Clone Wars style. That has to be, and I'm sure it will be, because it's literally a pseudo sequel to it. So
it would make sense, but I also feel that they could make it a more live action look sort of thing, like what's it called? The intercut? No, not intercuts.
What are you saying?
Intercuts of like game plans, game things, So
like
they could make it
game
look
engine,
realistic.
game engine, like you mean just using like game engine software and stuff?
No. So like how they have what is it?
Motion capture. What are you talking about?
No. It's like when the interlude scenes in games.
Okay, like cutscenes.
Cutscene, that's the word.
Yeah. So just use
some games have really realistic.
So like you're talking like Knights of the Old Republic. I think Clone Wars is nicer because it honestly, Summer Season 7 looks realistic. The last scene, I kid you not, I was looking at it and it looks like live action. Like some of the shots there are matte paintings, and just some of it looks so realistic, and like that it's just that there is no line between live action and animation at this point. That's the most beautifully animated thing I've seen in my life.
Yeah.
It's so, and the literal symbol of the Republic, that it's just dead and it's nothing, and it's this Venator, and then the Morai flying overhead, and it's just so perfect. And seeing fiction's greatest villain, Darth friggin' Vader, holding a blue lightsaber is just like fanfic material, but it works so well.
Yeah.
And get it. And then I think I mentioned this before, but just the last, it's over an hour, Corbin, I know. The last shot being the main aspects of the show is Anakin.
10 minutes ago, like, let's wrap this up.
I know. And we're still going because I just can't stop talking about Siege of Mandalore. All right, I'll try and wrap it up here. So that last shot, it's Anakin walking away from the life he once knew, which is the 501st. No, it's not like this is like genius and nobody's pointed this out, but just the fact that it's this, and it's the helmet of a 501st trooper with Ahsoka's painting on it, and then as Vader walks away and fades away as the snows are, it's so symbolically perfect. And the fact that there's no dialogue just makes it it's such a quiet, morbid, just nothing, devastating ending. And that's the perfect note to end the show on. And that's the perfect note to end the podcast on. Okay, no, it's not exactly. And if it had been a happy ending, it would have felt jarring, because I love how it parallels Rebels. It's like Rebels is super happy, and it's like everybody's alive except Grogu.
About it, like an unhappy ending, it fits so much better than the.
Oh, absolutely.
Well and good.
Because you needed that to bookend that era. Is that Revenge of the Sith? Even there's been no darker ending, because Revenge of the Sith ends with the twin sons, Hope, Luke. This just ends with nothing. You get nothing.
What are the numbers? Let me go on Wikipedia.
Okay, yeah, sure. The 501st is dead. The Republic is dead. Anakin is dead. Ahsoka is morally fractured. Rex is morally fractured. There's nothing. There's no happy element to that. Obviously, if you know what comes later, it's happy. But and even the title is it's family reunion and farewell for Rebels, and then Clone Wars is just victory and death.
Yeah.
Which I thought when I first saw that title, because it leaked out a few weeks earlier. What are you saying?
Around 7,400 people.
What has more?
They're all dead. They are all dead.
Yeah.
How many did you say?
2,000 troops. They all died.
Yeah.
They're all now.
That's depressing. I mean, half of them are.
That's the heaviest part.
Yeah. So
the clone troopers.
Yeah.
That's right. That's not all of them.
Yeah.
Rex and Ahsoka just watched as thousands of people died trying to kill them, and they have to live with that.
Yeah. And especially Rex is like, I think it's a thing when he starts breaking down and crying. That's like my second favorite bit in that episode.
Yeah.
Is when he breaks down and crying, and just the simplicity of it on the surface, but then the complexity.
Who's like, battles leave scars. No, was it Kanan?
Kanan, like, battles leave scars. Some you can't see. Some you can't see. Yeah, which is, and then it's also a thing for him because he's blind. But it's so poetic, and then but exactly that's the quote that sums it up. And it's having Rex just breaking down like that, and it's almost a thing of self-loathing to me, and he kind of almost hates himself that he, that he feels like he needs to kill them, But then it's Ahsoka's unshakable faith in him and in them that it's just like, well, no, we're not going to kill them. No matter what this comes to, they may be willing to die, but I'm not the one who's going to kill them. It hits so deep. And to get a soldier's perspective finally in Star Wars, obviously we've had it for years with the whole show, but just to, like, the fact that Filoni went, okay, these are the core themes of the show that we need to hone in on, and he did it for the finale. Yeah. We needed that in the finale. We needed the clones, and the focus on that. And I'm just, I'm so grateful. And Rex is now, I mean, he was always like top 5. Now he's probably like my third favorite character in the franchise. Because and we're gonna see him in Mandalorian if Ahsoka and Sabine are there, and I can't wait to see what they do. And I love that he's on Endor as well.
Too.
Sorry.
No, you're saying Sabine's going to be
Yes, I am.
well.
That's also been rumored, but I think also just because she's a Mandalorian, and if it's Bo, you'll probably get. And I reckon they'll set it up for the Rebel sequel to where the episode that they're in, the episode or 2 they're in, at the end of it, they'll be like, now we're going to go off and do something else. And we know that as, they're going to go find Ezra. And maybe they take Baby Yoda. Or maybe that's how the season ends, where they take Baby Yoda. I don't know.
Okay, one thing. Can we please give Baby Yoda a name? Just for this
child. First name B, last name child.
yeah, good.
A top name, like Kevin.
Corky.
Kevin, no.
Kevin the Cube. Kevin the Cube. Fortnite. No. This is not a Fortnite podcast. We do not speak of Fortnite.
Seb. No.
Sev. Republic Command. J.J. Abrams. John Favreau. Mowgli, because John Favreau worked on the new Jungle Book. Get it?
So from now
Funny.
On, this guy here.
I'm surprised this hasn't just
is known as Mowgli. Mowgli.
Oh wait, we're doing different bits of the theme. It doesn't work. Okay. Oh well, you were doing Mario. Wow. Okay. Because I was doing like the start of the thing. Okay. All right, Corbin. And on that note, let's end this podcast. I still feel unfulfilled because Star Wars is a limitless franchise and we could literally talk about it forever. But I think this is a good place to leave it.
Yeah.
All right, Angus.
We're going to do another one.
Yeah.
God knows when. But like,
yeah, it could be like a bi-monthly thing. We'll see how we go. Or you could be getting these every single day, every single hour, and you're going to have to live with it.
Every single hour.
You're going to, yeah, can you imagine? Yeah, it's just we never stop. Just we get like 2-minute breaks. Yeah, that's fair enough, Corbin. All right.
My channel link is going to be in the description somewhere. Go subscribe to me because I might upload again. I just stopped.
Yeah.
Well,
you had just a surge of content, which was just a bit scary because I was like, whoa, where's this coming from? What does this mean?
And then school started back, and I was like,
right. Yeah. And then TeamEXAngus, and say the name, TeamEXAngus. Yeah, go subscribe. And we've got Rando Mando. Cheese is expensive. Yeah. That's his catchphrase at the end of every video.
No. Not this video. This is Tano Tribute's video. We do not speak of those epic words.
I'm so sorry. But yeah, you got to go sub to Rando Mando. He does a lot of gaming content, as does Angus.
Yeah.
And you did your lightsaber video recently.
Subscribers.
73 subs.
My channel is the shit.
Yeah, actually, you've got more than us. I think we've only got 70.
I've got 33.
Meaning that nobody is going to watch.
Outstanding
move. You know what? This is going to be easily our longest video ever on the channel on Tano Tributes. Our longest right now is like 10 minutes, but this is like blowing that out of the water.
Is it really going to be longer than 10 minutes?
Yeah. No, I'll just cut it. Yeah, I'll just cut it so it's just like the bare minimum of what we talked about. Do you know what? I'm going to be selfish. I'm going to cut everything from you guys. All right, fair enough. It kind of
works out.
Yeah. All right, that's good timing then. But yeah, that's good talk, guys. Obviously subscribe to this channel.
Hit that bell.
Tano, hit that bell.
Post
I feel like great. You just
never miss an upload. Remember to leave a like, drop a comment to enter our iPhone giveaway.
Angus, I think you just sold everybody on the channel. You made this a generic YouTube channel, and I love it. Okay, so thank you very much for watching. For listening. I doubt you watched. All right. I hope this gave you some joy in this weird time with this pandemic that's going on. Is that word like banned on YouTube or something?
What?
I think so. Like, I don't know. Word? All right. If it's banned, then this gets taken down and then we don't get to upload it. We'll just cut it out.
It's not banned. I've heard heaps of people say that.
Okay, sure. But I think it's like certain YouTubers get permission. It's really weird. I don't know. But
it was.
Yeah, I don't want to say the actual thing just in case. Okay,
you're not monetized.
It's the beer bug. It's the beer bug.
Beer bug.
Okay.
The big 19.
Well,
exactly. All right. That's a good. That's a.
he blew us out on my head.
Oh, we need to do a whole podcast on Dr. Vindy. We just really can't end this now, can we? But seriously, we need to do something about Dr. Vindy. I'll do like a tribute to him.
Start planning out. You need to plan out the next 2 years of podcast.
I need to start planning out the next like 3 years of Star Wars. I'm just gonna take over. We're just gonna go storm Disney just in Clone Commander armor. Kathleen Kennedy, you are under arrest. You've been like you're gonna execute for treason. I don't know. We'll figure something out. All right.
Look at them. They'll be reorganized into the first battle controls.
Oh, what did you say? Tana Tribute Studios.
Nah, Filoni. All right, well.
Filoni.
Let's
just creatively at least.
Just finish
okay.
Before we keep going.
Okay. This was pretty.
This round's gonna be 2 hours.
This was pretty cringe, and pretty gamer.
Not cringe. It like.
Yes.
It wasn't cringe.
It was fun. It was lovably cringe. People love cringe.
It was like endearingly horrible.
Exactly. And on that note, we're gonna go.
Bye, everybody.
We're gonna go spread the blue. Wait. We should think of a slogan for this channel. I was just about to say something. Something about the blue shadow virus. All right. And on that note, we're gonna go spread the blue shadow. We're gonna go spread the blue shadow virus, and we'll see you guys in the next podcast video tribute something Tano tributes. Signing off.